Is Gascoigne going to have a crack? He is, you know. Oh, I say! That is schoolboy's own.
Rivaldo saiu, no Ronaldinho, pé direito, bateu.
But Atkinson did well. The boy from...
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Have you seen a more freakish goal in A-League history?
It is 6,481 long days since Aucklanders watched their own team in their own city. And now we are there just hours to go before Auckland Football Club's inaugural game against Brisbane Roar at Mount Smart Stadium. It's been 3.5 months, just 3.5 months since Steve Corica came in as the manager of Auckland Football Club. There were no balls, there were no mannequins, there were no gear. And there were no players, of course. They went out, they brought in some young Kiwi lads, development lads. They went over to Australia, brought some born winners from Australia into the club. And then, of course, some All Whites signed. Then we had the big name investors. We had Tim Brown, Noah Hickey, Winston Reid, just recently Stephen Adams, Bill Foley, mega billionaire owning the club. All the things started to fit into place, and we are just days away now. The port section is sold out. The ground has sold, we believe, around about 20,000 tickets. Blue and black going up across Auckland City. We are ready for the A-League, and tonight on Nice Drop of Port, we are going to pull all that apart, really savor some of the atmosphere. We've got some old faces joining us tonight on the podcast. Blair from the Port is back. Welcome, Blair, to Nice Drop of Port. How you going, mate?
Good, mate. Good.
Yeah, you're pretty excited.
Yep. Yeah, we got something special lined up for opening day, so keep an eye out for that.
Hear a bit about that a little bit later. And Matt, welcome to the show. Matthew McGann. I've played a lot of football with Matt. Just want to tell you a little time when Matt came on as a substitute in a game that I was playing in. He literally didn't stop running into the final third, into the opposition's half, 2-footed challenge. Boom, sent off straight away. He's a reformed character now, though. Matt, welcome to the show. How you going, mate?
Oh, great. Thank you very much. Thank you for that. One of my better moments. One of my better moments on the pitch.
I tell you, he was a good player, though, Matthew. He was a good player. And it's absolutely lovely for us to be here. You know, I mean, I've lived here 17 odd years, no football team to support, and now we've got one. So wherever you're watching, listening to this show, absolutely wonderful to have you along. So, geez, I mean, just hours to go. When we started this a few months ago, it felt like a long time to go. But now 2 days to go. Like, I was on a bus going to the city in my enforced 2/3 days in the office a week, and I saw this guy with a little tin of paint, and it was the Auckland Football Club blue, and there was a guy next to him, and he had a black tin of paint, and they were just starting a little paint job in the morning. When I went home at night, the whole wall on K Road was black and blue, and I thought, you know what, I think this is actually getting going. You know, I'm sort of making plans for my weekend, and we're getting into it. I mean, let's talk about Saturday. I mean, like, you know, who's going to the game? I'm off to the game. Blair, you going to the game? What are you up to Saturday?
I'll be there, front and centre at the port. We'll be part of the march, all that jazz. I'll be there beforehand as well, helping set up something before kickoff.
Oh yeah, what are you setting up?
It'll be a tifo apparently. So yeah. Keep an eye out for that.
What's a tifo? Is this a Gen Z thing? Is it? What's a tifo?
Well, no, it's the big things they have up at the South American games, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got one of those prepared. I don't know what's on it, so yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
So you're down there. Yeah, I heard a little bit about this march to the game. So, I mean, you've probably got some inside goss for us. There's a bar at the back of Mount Smart, Lily World, is it?
Yeah, Lily World.
And there's a march though. Well, I mean, what's all that about? It sounds like you guys are protesting against something. What's that about?
You've got to put me on the spot there. But it's
surprise.
Just pretty much same as most of the clubs do. Just everyone from the port gathers at the Lily World and going to make their way towards the stadium. I believe it is. Yeah, 4 p.m. We'll move en masse from Lily World to the concourse, and then 4:15 on the dot, march begins and move down the stairs, and
and then you're in. I think
Yeah.
there's actually quite a bit going on at Mount Smart Stadium by the sounds of it for the opening game. I mean, it's kind of a big event. I feel like, you know, we live in this city, and as we've said before, it's not really a football city. But I feel like the mainstream media is starting to talk about it. Crowd goes wild. I had a little piece. I think even the likes of One News will probably be covering it soon. I mean, it feels
Yeah.
like people are talking about it, and we were just talking off air before. And we've got 20,000 tickets sold.
Yeah, 20,000 sold.
All right. And what? There's a little bit of a stat around that, Blair. What did you tell me before?
The Knights sold 24,288 tickets in their first 5 games, and we're on track to surpass that in the opening game.
Awesome.
There you go. It feels a little bit different this time. Matthew, how are you feeling about the game? You've been catching up with a bit of the euphoria building into this?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'm actually going to watch it on TV. I do hope to get down there pretty soon. I think I'll maybe the next game or the game after for sure. But now I'm looking forward to it. It's kind of, as you mentioned there, starting to get a bit of that feel of that, you know, a football game's coming at the weekend and it's going to be played at a good time, you know, not having to wake up, you know, to watch our local teams. So, yeah, just getting that little bit of a buzz. Looking forward to a football game at the weekend. It's good.
Yeah, like there's a fixture to go to, right? It's really funny. Before I've come on tonight, I had an unplanned couple of beers with a new mate of mine down the road, Scottish guy called Al, and Hearts fan, you know, telling me about what it was like in Edinburgh going to the games, and it's like, you know, you go down with your jacket zipped up, and someone will go, "Oh, what's under that jacket?" You know, make sure you've got the right colour on. I mean, it's kind of like there's an intensity to football that is right across the world, and I guess we're starting a football club from nothing. It's kind of like I said at the beginning of this. You know, you got a manager who's got a lot of skills. He's come in, but there's no balls and kit and goals ready for him. He's got to go and buy a whole team. He's thrown this team together. You know, like I said, we've got all whites in there. We've got Aussie players. It feels to me like I don't really know what's going to happen on Saturday. You know, like it's. What do you think, Matt? I mean, we'll get more into the team later, but I just have no idea what's going to happen on the pitch. Do you?
That's right. That's right. I mean, you can obviously you can make as good as a guess as you can and try to expect exactly who the players are going to be, how he's going to set the team up, how he wants to play. I mean, obviously there's clues with the teams that he's managed before and some of the players that he's recruited, but essentially it's who knows? Yeah, it's just going to see what happens on the day. It really does. Yeah, apprehension for sure.
What about you, Blair? Like, are we favourites going into this game?
100%. We've recruited 2 Johnny Warren medalists, you know, and we've brought back a lot of really solid Kiwi players who were doing at least fairly well over in some of the European leagues, which are arguably a higher level than the A League. You know, Joey Champness we brought back from Turkey, I believe it was. Nando Pajak was a star player for Sligo over in Ireland, and yeah, so we've built a really just solid core of players that are sort of in that sort of 24 to 27 age range. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll get a little bit into the preferred lineups. You know, I mean, I guess it's kind of like, you know, we've just like you say, we've watched all these signings come in, but to put a bunch of lads together, you know, and build a culture,
it's tough.
You know,
it's real tough.
It sounds tough to me. It sounds really tough. You know, I think making Sakai the captain's a good idea. You know, he seems to be by far the most experienced player. But even these young, I mean, like you say, these young lads, they're sitting around these 2 days building up. They've done pretty much all the preparation they can do now. Like what is? I mean, as we know, when these big games happen in the days and hours leading up to these games, there's a series of team meetings in the camp. You know, what is Corica saying to these guys going into this game? Blair, what do you reckon he's got to say for himself?
The probably just get out there and just, I'd assume he's been given free rein to just play attacking football and just put on a show, essentially. So he's probably just telling the pressure's not really on you, just be flashy, I suppose.
Entertain, because it's an event.
Yeah, as
Saturday.
Alex Ferguson, I think it was, once said, I'm an old man. I don't want to sit here and watch boring football, and go out there and entertain me.
Yeah.
And then, if I'm not mistaken, that same game, Robin Van Persie had a 30-yard volley on first time, when they came back from the halftime team talk.
Yeah. Well, how do we expect Corica to line up in this first game? I mean, you seem to think he's going to go on the front foot, attacking football.
Yeah, well, he's very much likes 4-2-2, which is sort of classic back four, double pivot, attacking wingers with two strikers. But based off of the squad, I'd say he probably goes for more of a 4-2-3-1 with Brimmer in that sort of second striker attacking midfield role. And yeah, so pretty much these fullbacks will get forward. The double pivot will look to sort of link that attack and defence. And yeah.
I could tell you've played a bit of Football Manager, Blair, have you?
Yeah. Got my Auckland FC game up and running.
Oh, you got Auckland FC on it?
Yep. Managed to find a database.
I could bore the world with my Football Manager career history, but I will bore you a little bit. I like to play those two I like to play those two just in front of the defence, I like the is that the double pivot? I like the protection, but one of them's a baller, He's looking at the game. He's like if I could play Luka Modric, in front of a defence. But I mean, Matthew, you got much of an idea about how we're going to look on Saturday?
I think he's stuck between a bit of a rock and a hard place, if I'm going to be honest. Because I think, I understand there's going to be a big crowd and they're going to want to be entertained, and obviously, people are going to want to see goals and everything. But you know what? He could just take the way of, I don't want to go out there and lose this game. I don't want to go out and lose this first game, and I certainly don't want to go out and lose this first game 2 or 3-0 or something like that. So, and he's definitely got enough. I think he's got enough players. I think he's got enough tools in the box to be able to set up to practically almost make it a bit of a dog crap. I think he could set up a bit of a defensive. He could set up a bit of a dog crap game and just go a little bit more.
He might smother it a bit. Smother it.
Yeah, smother the game. Yeah, because again, I go back to my own football team. We had new owners. We had new players. There was a bigger crowd than we've ever had, and we set the team up to be as dogged as we possibly could be, and we nicked it at the end 1-0. But there wasn't a person that was unhappy in the whole state. Obviously, apart from the away fans, there wasn't anybody that was unhappy about that. We went away. We proved that we've got some good players, and it showed that we could grind out a result and just move on. I think the last thing you want to do is to go out there, try and be expressive, and be on the end of a 3 or 4-0 beating.
We don't want to get murdered, eh?
You want that. Yeah,
no, because
that's the problem, and that's why I say he's stuck between a rock and a hard place, because he could try and go out there and do something that could easily get away from you. These guys have been around the block enough times. With the new boys to the league, I think you want to be, especially at home as well. You don't look like a soft touch.
See, my counterpoint to that is you're thinking of that from a team that's in the football pyramid. A team that if you don't get those results, if you aren't able to get enough wins together, you go down. Whereas this team here, it doesn't matter. Like if we finish bottom 3, we finish bottom 3. Nothing really happens after that. You let some players go, bring some new ones in, and try again.
Yeah, but
that's a good point. There's no relegation. You're right, actually, because there's not so much at stake really in not losing. It's like you say, and I mean,
but you don't want to be getting hammered 4 or 5-0 in the first 2 or 3 games. Do you?
Yeah,
no, it's.
But to be fair, it's going to be hard to beat the Mariners for what they did. I think it was like 13 points twice they did that. So obviously, as long as we clear that, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, I think it depends how you look at it. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to turn up there that they kind of know. I think a lot of people will turn up and be actual football fans. I really do think so. And I think they're going to, hopefully they'll understand that if they go out there and they show that they're actually, playing for the, Passion FC and all that, playing for the club, that they get out there and they get a result. Well, even if they lose 1-0 at the end, I just think, if you can go out there and just give it, show that the team's kind of come together and there's something to work with, hopefully enough will people understand that was quite a good result. I don't think people are going to be quite keen on walking away with a 4-5-0 loss.
Yeah. And all right, let's have a little look. We won't go too into depth in this. Let's have a little look at what we think the team might be. I mean, obviously, Alex Paulson, if he's fit, he's in goal, right? He's going to make his
100%. Yeah.
He's going to make his debut. We're very excited about this young lad. We've talked a lot about him. We know he's player of the year last year at the Phoenix. He's in goal. So we're 4 at the back, right? And you start with a spine in the middle. Is it Sakai and Dan Hall in the middle? Centre back partnership.
Sakai right back.
Sakai's right back. He can play across the defence.
Yeah, he can play across the defence, but I think they'll throw him in at right back.
Yeah, he's in at right back. So Dan Hall, if he's fits in there, presumably.
Yeah.
Who's in next to it? Is it Nando?
Yeah.
Nando's in. And left back?
Probably Francis de Vries. I think he showed a lot in pre-season. He put some great crosses in. He was getting up and down the pitch. He was linking up with the winger really nicely, which is something Corica quite likes. So, yeah.
Where's he come from?
I believe it was Eastern Suburbs in the National League.
So he's one of our New Zealand boys that's sort of...
Yeah, he was one of the first 4 signings.
Yeah. Now I was reading a little bit about Corica. I said at the top he had to get the balls sorted and the buy a whistle and stuff. But the first job was very much to go out and get these Kiwi lads, right? And they were watching 2, 3, 4 games a week in the New Zealand leagues, and that was a purposeful plan by the management, and the club to get the Kiwi lads in. So it's going to be great to see someone like that. I think at left back, alongside these more experienced players. Tommy Smith, he'll be on the bench, will he? Just waiting.
Well, Francis de Vries is 29. He's been around the block. He's been to Sweden and Denmark, I believe it was.
Yep.
Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah.
Here we go. Robbie's here.
Here he is.
Hey!
Now, Robbie lives in Sydney, so I'm afraid, that it's like Auckland traffic on roids.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. It was a pretty nasty crash on the bridge. So normally half hour to 40-minute trip took about an hour. So I was 15 minutes away for about a good half hour.
Yeah, not you didn't crash, did you, Robbie?
No. The crash happened at about it was behind. The crash happened at about 1:30 Sydney time, and it's now 7 o'clock local. So yeah,
so right now he's actually sitting in the car. It's a fake background behind him.
He's still in the car.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the antidote to all those Kiwis that want to go and live in Australia, right? Chasing the dollar and the sunshine. They don't tell you about this today.
No. Sydney is like Auckland on steroids, and it is. I must admit, it is a very big reason as to why I'm actually moving to Brisbane in about a year and a bit's time, which is quite apt since that's who we're playing first.
Absolutely. Well, you've joined us. We've just done a bit of an intro, and we're getting into the team. We've pretty much picked the back 4. Obviously we've got a goalie. We know who's going to goal. We picked the back 4 with Sakai at right back, Dan Hall and Nando in the middle, and then de Vries. Is that how I say it? De Vries, young Kiwi lad who's been brought in.
29.
He's a left back.
29. He's hardly young.
He's still young.
Hey, he's young to me. He's young to me. He's got his whole life ahead of him. So talk about midfield. I mean, I guess we sort of have we've got 2 in midfield and then the 3 and the 1. Is that how we think we're going to set up? Yeah. So what do you know, Robbie, about the midfield? Who's going to sit at the anchor of this midfield of this team?
I think just trying to remember who the signings were. Sorry, I'm still flustered from all the traffic.
Rob, what an unfair question. Robbie's still in his car, eh?
I was going to say, that was
I just sat down, boy.
Question.
Yeah, well, you turn up late for class, boy, you'll get the first question,
Yeah.
That's the toughest one of all.
Looking at the squad, Jake Brimmer can play a holding role, but I'd like to see him further forward because that's where he was most effective. So if you're looking for an anchor, I think it might be Louis Vistata. Of the limited knowledge I have of him, he seems to be more of an anchor, and I'm happy to be corrected on that.
No, he's been playing as a 6 in the friendlies so far. So
okay, because the only other holding midfielder in that squad to me is Cameron Howison.
Galagos
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
He's capable of playing that. He's been playing the double pivot with his Strats. Those are pretty much three main holding midfield options. But Finn McKinlay got a lot of minutes during pre-season, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him get some minutes during the game as well, even if it's just off the bench.
Is it a thing that you've got to play a 6 like holding at the these days? So interestingly, old Spurs, my team, we had a game the other day and we didn't play a 6. We had Bentancur in that position. He's attacking, and I was like, gee, we got Bentancur, Madison, and old Kulusevski. 3 attacking midfielders.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we're in the A League.
Yeah.
There's no relegation. Like, is there a chance that Corica's going to try and get real attacking in this midfield, or is he going to do what Matt said? He's going to, more defensive.
Well, I think that's sort of what the fullbacks are there for. You got Sakai and De Vrij, both are going to get forward and sort of maintain that width on the pitch, and those wingers will look to get in the half spaces and try and draw the fullbacks.
Yeah, so a 6 and an 8 in midfield.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're not quite sure. Verstraete is the Belgian lad, eh?
Yeah.
And who else did we say? Who else do we think's in there?
Probably
Howison.
Galagos. Yeah.
Cami Howison, because he's
I reckon they'll go
experienced.
Howison. First game in New Zealand. You want to start one of your sort of first 4 signings?
Yeah, you got.
That would be good. That would be good for
Yeah. So we play sort of two mid and then the 3. You got someone in the hole, right? In the sort of like a 10 role.
Attacking midfielder.
Who's the attacking? Who's gonna provide the gold in this attacking midfield?
Well, the obvious one was Brimmer for me because he is that number 10.
Yeah.
But then if call me old fashioned, but your number 10 jersey, if it's Guillermo Mai, I like, again, not knowing too much about him, if he is that sort of genuine number 10 South American style who will play in that linking midfield forward role.
He's sort of a 9 and a 10, like he's capable of playing both. So I would be surprised if we see the 4-2-2 again at some point with him and Mata up front,
Ah, yes, Mata. Did okay in a couple of the friendlies. Yeah. And then out on the flanks. Who's out on the flanks?
We haven't really got any, have you? That's
the thing. I think this is where we're actually at our best in terms of depth, because you've got Logan Rogerson and Joe Chantness probably the starters. Both are
Chantness,
fit.
Yeah.
Then you've got Gillian, Randall, Randall was a part of scored during the Olympics. Liam Gillian looked fantastic during pre-season. He was consistently beating his man and, playing the overlap with De Vrij. And then you've got the most recent visa signing, Nader Moreno. I doubt he'll get many minutes in their first couple of games. They'll probably look to settle him in. But again, he looks like he could be decent. So, yeah, no shortage of options there. Moreno, he's actually also capable of playing as a 10 as well. So, again, a lot of variety, a lot of depth in the attack there.
Well, I think you've almost anticipated, because I think it's going to be really hard to try and guess exactly, of course, how he's going to set up or something like that. But I think where the clue is the recruitment, the type of players he's brought in. Where has he brought a lot of players in? I think because that, again, I always go back to my football team. It was actually quite obvious to see exactly how my team was going to set up, because they had such a huge recruitment in the summer. You could see exactly where he's starting to put the depth and where he wasn't so bothered about where the recruitment was. And that pretty much just played into exactly how we play. We don't play with a lot of width. We play with a lot of going through that kind of triangle, the 10, the 7 and the 11. They create that kind of, bit of a triangle outside the box. The interpassing, we don't really go. There's not many teams now that hit the, what does it used to be? Hit the byline.
The wingers, they don't get to the byline. No, those days are gone.
It's not really much that.
That's sort of the whole.
But you can have players that keep that width. But have we got them?
Yeah.
And if you haven't, then you're expecting your fullbacks to do a lot of work. And if you've got 35-year-old Sakai on the right back, he ain't going to be going up and down that, up and down.
I don't know if he's that old, but he's in his early 30s, isn't he? I mean, he's getting
mid-30s.
He's mid-30s. Oh, he's been to 3 World Cups. He's got to be decent.
Yeah.
So I think that's where, and obviously the whole thing is it's going to change. It's going to, when you're in possession and when it's out of possession. What's it going to look like? You know, when you've got the ball, when you haven't got the ball, you're going to start to see a lot of movements in there as well. Again, it goes back to my point. I think he'll set up quite doggy.
My counter to that is that the two backup fullbacks are Scott Galloway and Callan Elliott, who start for most A-League teams. Like, you can run those fullbacks, you know, off the park in the first 45, 60 minutes.
Yeah,
hook them, bring on the fresh legs, and they keep going. You know.
Yeah, that's the way of doing it. Yeah. What is the A-League? How many subs can you have? Is it 5?
5. Yeah.
5.
Yeah. So, that kind of makes sense, really. You know, you don't chop and change the central defence. You do a bit up front, but you can also do the sides. Yeah.
It's kind of like in the Euros with England. Gareth Southgate was big on, we've got our starters and our finishers. You know, gone are the days where it's most important to be in that starting 11. These days, it's kind of like, we want these players to come on and make a difference when players are getting tired. All right, so we're not quite sure who's going to be up there in the flanks. What about a centre forward? Who's going to score us all the goals? I mean, that's what we want to know. Who's going to be our hero, our Harry Kane? You know. Although we want to win a trophy, of course.
Exactly.
My money would be on Guillermo May. He's the big money man. He's got a couple of good seasons in the Uruguayan league under his belt, and he's been sort of riding the bench at Newell's. So I think, and he's 26, so he's coming into his prime. So
great
he
age,
could hit the ground running and just
All right. Any other options, or is he the obvious choice?
Max Matter is probably in with a shout.
Right.
He's sort of a different style of striker. Max Matter's sort of your more classic 9. Gets in behind, gets in the air and wins headers and that kind of thing. So it may just be a case of where if Corica feels he needs that big man to try and maybe dominate opposition centre backs and whatnot, he'll sort of select around that.
Yeah. That's the thing I find with this squad. It seems to be really well balanced, and Bemby's got options. Steve Corica's got options to play different kind of styles. Yes, it is very modern now to play that kind of inverted winger rather than the old-fashioned down the byline. But then you've got several options, and if you've got a genuine old-fashioned number 9 like a Max Mata who can be that aerial dominant kind of striker, then you have that option of doing that. You know, get it wide down to the byline, cross it in, because it is now almost it's almost retro to do that. And generally, most teams are playing that kind of style, that new style. So to flip things on its head, go back to that aerial style.
They normally they tippy tap it around, don't they? And 17 passes before the thing goes forward. I mean, I'd love to see some byline play, some excitement, you know. And I'd also like to see 2 up front. I mean, I'm an old-fashioned sort of guy. I mean, I loved the big guy and the little guy, you know, the big guy and the little guy. Especially if you're not packed out with like ballers, you know, if you've got like, if you want to win a football match, you know, big guys, little guy, people on the flanks, get the ball in. So maybe he'll play, maybe we'll go for 2 up front, or maybe Mata in that false 9 sort of behind May, you know. I mean, that'd be nice to see, attacking style.
Yeah. I mean, the one that gets me is that it's been, you know, like the playing out from the back. That's the rage, you know, to try and play. I mean, a guy that I listen to. I mean, my team's in League One, and you've got teams down the bottom of the league trying to play out from the back. I mean,
I don't like it.
Some of the teams in my league, they haven't even discovered fire yet. I don't know about playing out from the back.
Who was it? There was an absolutely embarrassing goal that I saw on Twitter. I think it was Bolton. They're already like 4-0 down. They were trying to play
Bolton.
The keeper just played it directly to the striker, and it was just terrible.
That's our public that we're playing in. I mean,
speaking of places they haven't discovered fire, Bolton.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I'm glad you said a place. I was just going to vaguely say not found fire.
Take your pick, Take your pick.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, look. This is great. Look, we're sort of football managers here, right? Like, you sign a bunch of players pre-season. On paper, this is what they're going to do. I'm sure things will develop. We're a brand new football team. This is like uncharted territory. Very exciting. We're playing the Brisbane Roar. Anyone know anything about Brisbane Roar? I mean, I know they were known as Raw Salona. I know Ange Postecoglou managed them once. I
Yep.
know they'd just be a little bit south of Noosa. Apart from that, I'm not too much. Not know much about Brisbane. Anyone know much?
Rob-
Cheeky little
Robbie.
36-game unbeaten run.
Yeah. Robbie,
Robbie's
in you
moving there.
come. Yeah, come on, Robbie. In you
Yeah,
come.
Robbie, give us some.
Come on, bro. In you
Well,
come.
as the resident local of a nice drop of port, Brisbane Roar, yes, known as Barcelona back in the day, they were the originators of Ange Ball, and as was just mentioned, they did A-League record of 36 games undefeated, which was just insane. The football they played was just awesome to watch back in, I think it was the early 2012-ish,
2010s,
around there.
yeah.
2010s, yeah.
Right.
But since then, they've kind of haven't really hit the heights of that. Kind of bounced through managers and owners, and just haven't really. They've struggled to find those heights again. What they're building under Ruben Zadkovic now, who's been around the league quite a few seasons as a former player and now as a coach, he's trying to bring some of that back. He's a very attack-minded coach. He's very much a modern coach who's always up and yelling at his. It's funny to hear a pre-match interview with him compared to a post-match interview with him, and you just know that he's been yelling the whole 90 minutes, just riding his players and kind of telling them, keep going forward, all that sort of thing. So I was lucky enough to call a game of theirs, Australia Cup game, a couple of months ago, and they seem to be fearless. They play that, I guess you kind of call it that tiki-taka, but you see what he's trying to do, and it is entertaining to watch. So
Nice.
I think they will cause Auckland a few problems because they are a more established team, and you just never know how Auckland's going to be gelling with new players. But yeah, I'm still pretty confident that Auckland will get the job done.
Yeah, awesome. Well, as it happens, we have a special guest on the show tonight who is Adam, and he is a Brisbane Roar fan, and he's just flown into Auckland, would you believe? And he's supporting the team, runs a podcast over there. Adam, welcome to Nice Drop of Port.
Thanks, Dale. Thanks, guys, for having me.
Yeah, man. How was your flight over?
Very, very nice. Very complimentary of Air New Zealand. They're very, very, very good airline. First time flying with them, and very impressed.
Nice. And I mean, I guess kind of what makes me sort of laugh a little bit is the distances between all these games, right? Like you're not getting on a bus or a train or a lift. You got to fly on a plane to a different country to come and watch an away game. Is this the first time you've gone to a different country to watch? Have you been down to see Wellington, or is it the first time over here?
This is the first time over here to watch or cover a game. I'll actually be in the media box on Saturday covering for Brisbane Football Review. So it is a novelty. I've been to a few away games, but I know you guys you're talking about sort of your experiences back in England and whatnot. Again, yeah, an away game for the A-League is a 3-hour plane ride, or flying halfway across the country, or whether you guys ever get the opportunity to actually be part of the distance derby, which all the way over to Perth. So that's some of the novelties that await Auckland FC as they join the A-League.
And would you say it's a good time for Brisbane to be playing us, because we're Football Manager in it at this point, right? We're chucking a lot of lads together. Good time to play us, come over here and get a result?
Look, I think it is a good time for the Roar, only because I think there's probably as much uncertainty about their own side as what there is for you guys. That there is going to be, we were talking before the show started, that there could be potentially 8 debutants for the Roar this Saturday. So it is going to be a case of a work in progress for the Roar. It doesn't also help the fact that they have the bye in week 2. So it could be a case of a one game out and see what happens from there, or it could be a case they could come all guns blazing and enjoy the week off. So this is a game that has real intrigue. Probably the one game that I think a lot of people probably will have a hard time trying to predict the outcome across round 1 of the A-League.
Well, what's your call on it? What do you think? Do you think you're going to win?
Oh, look, the heart says yes always, Raw, but the head says this is. I think a draw. I think might be a good result for both teams for week 1.
And
2-2,
those
3-3.
Yeah, we want a lot of goals. Right? Tell us a little bit. Robbie mentioned the Barcelona, original Ange Ball team.
Yeah.
Like, tell us a little bit about that style and whether you've moved away from it now completely, or you're still going to be trying to pass out from the back.
I think passing out the back is something that was not originated, but something that Ange Postecoglou's quite Barcelona team sort of made sort of practical in the A-League back then. It's a case of that style was so different because it was so new. It was like shock and awe stuff back in the day. I don't think so now as much. I also think that you don't have a creative player like a Thomas Broich or a lethal striker like a S.R. Richard, or even Costa Barbarouses in the first grand final when he played. Talking of New Zealand players, and that kind of player. I think this is a very, very different squad. It's a different type of style. They do play attacking football, but certainly it's a more measured one. That Barcelona side is probably in the top 2 or 3 greatest squads in the 20 leagues of the A-League.
Yeah, fair comment. Very fair comment.
Yeah.
So potentially fairly evenly matched because there's like you say, you got 8 players, we got 11 plus all the subs, new players. I mean, it sounds exciting, who knows what's going to happen on the day, I guess. And so you're going down to the game, Adam, to cover it for the podcast.
Yes. So I'm actually accredited. I'm football media accredited, so I get to go to basically do all A-League games across across the league. So a bit Brisbane Football Review, just a bit about us. Obviously for your listeners and viewers, this is our 9th season covering the Roar. So we're independent of the Roar, obviously, but certainly we've seen a lot. And before that, myself and my colleagues Scott and James, we've all sort of been past fans of the Raw previous from the started. So we've seen a lot with the Raw, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, especially recently. But yeah, we're back for more, and it's in the 20th season. I think it's going to be a very exciting season. I think not only from the Raw point of view, I think Auckland does bring something very, very different, something unique to the league. And I'm fascinated to see how's it going. I'm truly excited. I know there's a lot of discourse, a lot of sort of given that there's been funding cuts and whatnot, but I think that it's forced other clubs to get creative, and Raw certainly are one of those clubs that have had to get creative with their recruiting and with their signings.
Is there much chat around the traps, about this Auckland team and the damage they might do in this league? I mean, you're talking about cuts. We're sitting here with a billionaire taking over us. We've got all the glitterati of New Zealand sport. We've got All Blacks. We've got famous New Zealand footballers. We've got Steven Adams from the NBA backing us, and it feels like we might have a chance this year. Like, what's the talk around the A-League traps?
Look, I think it's actually been fairly quiet, which is probably not a bad thing, which probably allows then you guys to sort of fly a bit under the radar. I think once the derby comes along in a few weeks' time, especially if you can knock off Wellington, that would really make a statement. But I think at the moment, I think a lot of people are divided on the fact is, yes, that obviously billionaire owners, a lot of investors, a new team, and how long it'll take to gel as a cohesive unit. But also as well, you can't escape the fact that the players that have been recruited for you guys there's some very, very good players in that team.
Yeah, and a little bit about the atmosphere of an A-League game, because we're all trying to get a gauge on what it's going to be like there in the ground. I've got a lot of experience of going to UK football matches. What type of atmospheres do these A-League games throw up? Are they sort of a bit muted, or is there a hardcore sort of like the Port? Do all the teams have a bit of a hardcore support?
They do, and look, the crowds from the numbers point of view are probably not great. Look, they're not bad either compared to if you take away the top 5 European leagues and the messy sort of powered MLS and some of their crowds. It's not bad. All the clubs have their own active support, and then I really look forward to, and a lot of people back at home be very, very interested to see how the Port goes in their debut on Saturday, especially if they. From what I sort of hear on the show before about the tifos, the march, and all that, which is in line with some of the bigger active support, like the Northern Terrace in Melbourne, and the red and black block in Western Sydney, and a few others. And yeah, so it's going to be. I think the atmosphere, if the Port can really, and the crowd in general can really sort of put on a really sort of ferocious atmosphere. There's going to be probably maybe 50 Raw supporters, if that. Probably expats which is actually, to be honest, getting 50 or so fans over here to make the trip over is actually not bad. It's not really, unless it's a really organised event. Like I know a lot of clubs have like their away tours and whatnot. Away fans are something that generally aren't much in the A League. Raw is fairly lucky where we do have fan groups in dedicated fan groups in Sydney and Melbourne. But then when we find up in Brisbane that other than maybe Melbourne Victory and Sydney FC and West Sydney Wanderers, we don't really get many away fans over.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so well, let's move on to Blair and let's talk about the Port. I mean, all the tickets have sold out in those sections. I've read in the last few days that not only is it going to be active support, but we're all going to be standing up in the Port end. Like, how's that going to work? Because my experience of going to football matches, if too many people stand up, there's a little bit of beef with the stewards. So, like, if we asked the club whether we're all allowed to stand up for the whole game?
This has been talked over with the club. They're in close contact with the club itself, and the club is very keen on giving the Port what they need to help provide atmosphere at the games, whether it's funding or a cheeky $500 bar tab, or all that kind of stuff.
Which bar, Blair?
Haven't given away secrets, Sorry, it was gone within 45 minutes, so you got to get in there quick.
You got to be in there quick. So it's standing room only in the Port. And like we said at the top of the show, we understand about 20,000 tickets sold out. I just hope it's not going to be a typical New Zealand sports crowd. I just hope for the entire opposite to what we normally have. And Adam, like, I don't know if you've sort of been to New Zealand sporting fixtures. It can be a little bit hit and miss and kind of, so this whole concerted effort to actually make a noise, because that stand behind the goal there where the Port are, we're going to be sucking the ball into the net, right? We want to really be the 12th man. I mean, it's critical, I think, to have this support, and it's going to be important that it carries on, I guess, past this game. But looking ahead to Saturday, we've got marching, I think there's events planned at the stadium. It'll be a lot of first timers going to the game as well. I mean, I'm actually bringing my 3 daughters along to the game. They've been to they went to the Women's World Cup, and unfortunately, my youngest spent her entire time trying to be on the jumbotron, trying to get caught on the screen, and that was her entire purpose of the day. And we all dressed up as Vikings to try and get on the screen. Do you see much dressing up going on? Is it going to be a bit of a party atmosphere? Any intel?
Not really. That's sort of more a sevens, nines vibe. Like with a festival atmosphere. This is sort of
this is football
match.
This is real football. We got some real football going on.
Yeah. People will be shit faced, but they won't be dressed up. Yeah. Well,
easy, Blair.
There you go.
Here we go. There's going to be some dressing up. And so a lot of the merch has been sold out. There's a lot of talk about not being out. People can't get shirts at the moment.
Yeah.
Did you hear much about that?
Yeah, a few people have been going around Auckland just trying to get their hands on a shirt in their size, and it's just they've been one bloke went to like 4 or 5 different stores before he finally got his hands on one. And the retro jackets, they've been flying off the shelves too, apparently. So
yeah. And do we reckon? Do we feel like Auckland's ready for this? Like, I mean, we've been building a little bit. Do we feel like Aucklanders are all aware that we've now got a football team?
Well, based off of what one of the blokes in the Facebook group has posted about the Black Knight Ramen at was it RGCN Ramen Newmarket? So there's a spot for you to try, mate, while you're here. So I think that kind of thing, pumping up the game, at places like Newmarket and whatnot, where there's a lot of foot traffic and that kind of thing. It's just more exposure than what's probably previously been had. I wouldn't really know about the previous New Zealand teams held in Auckland because I was like 5 when that fell over. So,
Yeah.
You've aged well, Blair.
Thank you. Other people disagree, but sure.
Well, you mentioned it before, like those games were getting like 4,000 or 5,000. We've got 20,000
On a
at
good
least.
day.
Yeah, it feels. I mean, Robbie, you were around in those days. Do you feel already that there's a bit more about this team, a bit more about this club?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think social media has got a lot to answer for that because it wasn't around for the previous iterations of the Auckland side. So naturally, it's by having social media around, it's just a lot more. There's just going to be a lot more eyeballs on it, and a big part of that, even being over here, I've seen a lot of Ali Williams just promoting, one of the ownership group, just promoting this club. He's been on several radio shows. He's been on TV, talking, wearing the AFC kit. So there's a lot of the noises are really, really good. And I remember seeing something early doors where he was from the beginning said, we want to change the experience for New Zealand sports watchers, make it an entertainment thing. So a lot of this, atmosphere stuff in and around the ground, that's going to be so important to make Mount Smart Stadium a destination venue for others to come to. Like, Adam's right. Like the traveling fans aren't a massive thing outside of the big games. Like there was, I can remember one game last year, MacArthur against Adelaide at Cooper Stadium. There were 2 MacArthur fans in the away section at Adelaide.
That was a good day.
That was a good day. And when they scored, both of them just lost their mind. Camera cut to it, and you see the whole section behind the goal, and there's 2 people there. I mean, and that's part of the charm of the A-League. But if they can get that right, and that's always, like you mentioned, Dale, that's always been the problem with sporting events in New Zealand have been pretty drab affairs. They just it's just the crowds, for whatever reason, they just sit there, watch the game, clap, go home. But this, if we get the noise going for 90 minutes, that's going to be such a massive draw card for traveling fans, for the neutral fans, for the families. If we can get 20,000 every home game, that's a massive win. That's a massive win for this league and for the team. So, and I really want that to change in New Zealand because that's what I grew up with, and it was like I remember going to a rugby game as a kid, watching Auckland score a try. I jumped up and celebrated, and someone tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Mate, sit down." I'm like, "What?"
There you go. That's it. Yeah.
That's not right. That's not right at all. So if we can, that needs to be fixed.
I had a pretty similar introduction to rugby, except there was a New Zealand South Africa game, and I fell asleep. The final score was 32. Based off the final score, you'd think, "Oh, it was an exciting attacking game." 32-29. There was 2 tries scored the entire game. Everything up. South Africa kicked 9 penalties. We kicked 8. It was just,
no.
I don't remember the drive home, to say the least. I was 9 years old at the time. So,
you had me lost at 32-28, to be honest. Or whatever it was.
I think also as well, from our side of what we've seen of Auckland crowds and sporting crowds, I think if it can something match or even better what the New Zealand Warriors and Rugby League do at that ground, that's probably your standard as far as that goes. Because those crowds from afar look like they're actually, for a Rugby League crowd, fairly raucous. So if the Auckland FC crowd can be like that, maybe maybe it's asking too much to be sold at every game, but be loud, be animated, and whatnot. I think that will be something, because I think what I said before about trying to show that as Auckland as a place that away fans want to come. I think that's something that Wellington Phoenix they do they've done quite well as well. So they've tried to sort of invite the sort of travelling fans come over to New Zealand, and obviously they're having two options every sort of year. I think would be great.
Absolutely, a lot of fans in Australia cite Wellington away as one of the great away road trips. So if Auckland can match that, better it, at least match it, then that's a massive win. And just to touch on that Warriors point, I remember Ali Williams said, like, he wants to make this like a lot of people still talk about when the Warriors first entered the NRL and that game against Brisbane Broncos in 95. Everyone sporting wise, if league fan or not, remembers where they were or if they were at the game. And he wants to make this weekend, he wants to make that exactly the same. So where were you when Auckland FC played Brisbane Roar game 1, day 1?
Yeah.
If we can get that right, that's gonna go a long way.
Half the reason why I'm here in your city at the moment for that very reason, because I firmly believe in as far as Auckland come in, because I think this is going to be what may sort of spark the A-League again to at least be on the upper coast, because there's been a lot of bad headlines, a lot of sort of jadedness about the league. Hopefully Auckland can be that spark that all of a sudden gets this league back in the upward trajectory that we all want as football fans.
Yeah, historic day, and like we said, I do feel that rugby's in a little bit in the doldrums in this country at the moment. We're a rugby nation. I feel like this is perfect timing for this new club, this new sport. Like there are a lot of people who love football in this country, and a lot of people have sort of felt like they've gone without for a long time. So I do feel like the timing's going to be bang on. Actually, I think it's going to be great. Right, we're just going to get into. There's a couple more things to whip through before the end of the show. I want to get in quick predictions for the season for Auckland Football Club. I'm going to go first. I think we will.
As you bloody should.
I think we will finish top 6. I think we'll finish top 6, and we'll have a little playoff situation. And we might not be good enough to get through the playoffs, but I do think that this team, looking at some of these pros that are coming in, like we've got a decent chance of finishing top 6, even a little run to the grand final. What a story it would be. Inaugural season all the way to the grand final, and that would really spark the A-League. Anyone else? Let's go from the top. Matt, what do you reckon?
Oh man, jeez, I just hope they get off to a good start. I really do. They do start to put some results together. My prediction, well, I think it'll be a draw the first game. I'll give it a 1-1 against Brisbane. I think that would be quite a good result. I think
1-1 draw.
Someone mentioned there that would be a good result for both teams. I think because it's such an unpredictable fixture. But
isn't that the most common result in football as well?
Oh yeah, 1-1. As they say, yeah. I think I'll go with. Yeah, I'm going to say middling to just towards the end of middle, between middle and bottom. I think they'll probably finish about Auckland. I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but I think they'll have moments where they'll start to pick up. But yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, you can tell Matt's been supporting Birmingham City for many years, mid-table. Hope mid-table. Come on, mate. Come on, mate. Look for your win. Look for your win. Robbie, what do you reckon? How are we going to get on this year?
Oh, look, a lot of it comes down to how quickly the squad can gel. I think all going well, this is a top 6 side. The squad that Bimby's built is well balanced. It's powerful. It's very solid at the back. There's more than enough attacking talent. If everything can go right, I think top 6 is very achievable. Anything beyond that, I'm going to be happy with. But a lot of it comes down to just, how quickly things can come along.
Blair?
I think there's a factor we're underestimating a little bit, and I think that's Alex Paulson. I think because at the moment, right now, Bournemouth, they have 2 keepers whose contracts expire in 2026, another in 27. However, they do have one of Bill Foley's other clubs, Lorient, who are currently, I believe, 2nd in League 2. Have their starting keeper is in the last year of his contract. So I wouldn't be surprised if they've gone to Paulson and gone, you can have the Lorient number.
In at number 1. Paulson number 1.
Mm.
We just lost you a bit there, Blair.
Plug it back in, mate.
That sounded like the spreadsheet point he was waiting for, and it's it's let him down.
If his microphone comes back, we can talk some more about it also on this spreadsheet. He told us before the show.
I think he's coming back. Bottom of the league. Yeah, bottom of the league.
Oh, now Matt's gone. Oh,
Negative
no,
Oh, no,
vibes.
Matt's gone.
Oh,
Portugal
no.
by me,
Oh, no.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's it. Oh no. And Portugal leave mid-season. He's had enough.
But Blair's right. The goal is going to make a big difference. It's a factor that he's obviously going to be amazing. Adam, what do you reckon about us? What do you reckon? But new team for the league, unprecedented situation.
Yeah, well, I'm on record because we've done our last season previews on Brisbane Football Review. It's all over our social media and whatnot. So I'm actually on public record about that. So I actually think that Auckland finished 6th. I think that that you guys got a very, very talented squad, a good mix of experience like Hiroki Sakai, one of Samurai Blues, great defenders of the modern times, and also as well some very, very good young players. Alex Paulson obviously is going to be very important up, in goals, but as well as some good youngsters and the imports as well can be very, very good. But I actually had them above the Roar. I had the Roar in 8th spot on my predictions, and I had also Wellington 10th. So that's certainly where I think that you guys would be at. But that's I'm on public record, so I got to live by that.
We will see how we get on, I guess. Blair, you back with us, mate? Oh, he's still mute. That's all right.
No.
We see.
He's gone.
We see you. You're just in for your pretty face these days. All right, I'm going to do one more thing, which I'm very excited to do, which is we're going to play a little bit of a round robin quiz, and this round robin quiz is called Name That Derby. All right, and so these are A-League derbies. Robbie pointed out on the last show there are a lot of derbies in the A-League, and let's see if we know them all. All right, we're going to start off with the easy one.
I love that.
We give this one to Matt. All right.
Yeah.
Name the Sydney Derby. Teams in the Sydney Derby.
Oh, Sydney FC, Western Sydney. Is that right?
I can only take the full name.
Western Sydney FC.
Western Sydney.
No, Wanderers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well done. Point to Matthew. Well done. All right,
I knew it was there.
Going around the room. We'll go down to Adam. We've got another easy one. The Melbourne Derby.
So Melbourne City, Melbourne Victory.
Melbourne City, Melbourne Victory. We talked a bit about that derby on the last show. We understand it's a very tasty affair.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to the Melbourne Derby, Adam?
No, I haven't. My colleague James was actually during the World Cup in 22 was there. He was down in Melbourne presenting for his work, and he got along to that famous Melbourne Derby that got abandoned in the 20th minute. So, the one. Yes.
All right, we'll go around the room.
Bucket Man.
we go around. This is an intriguing one. We'll give this one to Robbie. We back Robbie. The F3 Derby. What is the F3 Derby?
The F3 Derby is Central Coast Mariners, Newcastle Jets.
Correct. And what is that all about?
Yeah.
Why F3?
Why?
The F3 is just the stretch of highway between Gosford and Newcastle. Interesting point. The trophy that they play for is actually a piece of the F3 Derby. It's literally Google a picture of this.
Love it.
It's literally a bit of the road between the F3 Derby, and the women play for a bit of the guard railing along the F3 Derby.
Yes.
Do you think they'll get equal rights in the end? Will they get equal rights in the end and get a bit of the road as well? Maybe, as times are changing.
Yeah. Who knows? But yeah, that's
when you say
that's
bit
very
of the road,
A-League.
When you say a bit of the road, like a bit of the tarmac.
Yes, it's like a core sample of the road. I'll try and get a picture of it for you.
I like it. We'll get a picture of that.
I'm so glad you brought that up, Robbie. That's sensational. As I said, peak A-League, which is a term that you'll hear a lot.
Peak A-League, is that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Peak A-League.
I like it.
See if this works, fellas. But
hold it still.
No.
Oh yeah. No. In a bit more. Oh yeah, I see. Oh, I see. So they've solidified. They've got it upright. Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Nice.
So what could Auckland and Wellington play for? Like a bit of snow off the top of Mount Ruapehu or something? Or, I don't know. Maybe
an orc.
An orc, yeah.
Actually, can I just bring something up about this from our side of the ditch? How do you guys feel about the APL christening the derby the quote Kiwi Classico?
Well, that was one of my questions, Adam. Which one? What is the Kiwi Classico?
I was going to have that one.
I was going to give that one to Matt.
Yeah.
I don't know where that's come from.
Yeah.
Kiwi Classico. Anyone know? Blair. Oh look, Blair. We can't hear you. Can you send us a sign? Send us something. Write it down.
I'll see.
Yeah, I think you might have to just switch it off and switch it on again, potentially. Kiwi Classico. Anyone know origins of the Kiwi Classico? Nah, I think someone made it up.
I think they
made
did
it up.
APL office at the APL offices, and I'm dead against it. I'm thinking, let you guys figure out what the name is going to be, and
Of our own derby, yeah.
It's just I think they're just trying a little bit too hard there.
Too much, too much. Well, I've got a lot of comments on the derby, but we might save that for another show.
Yeah.
Around the room again.
I just sent you a link. I just sent you a link to the core cup if you want to open that up.
Yeah.
But just quickly to jump on that point, Adam said, 100% agree. It needs to be organic. Simon Hill dubbed the Big Blue between Sydney FC and Melbourne Victory. That back in the day, just said it in commentary and it's stuck and it's so appropriate.
It's organic.
It's
organic, and I mean, I think also our support of this team will be more organic. I think, I know, and Blair's gone off to fix his technology, but ultimately, the Porter put up names of song lyrics and stuff. But I do think there has to be born on the terraces, those songs, and I do think these things need to come naturally. So you mentioned the Big Blue, Melbourne Victory, Sydney. All right, I'm gonna give another one to Matthew. The original rivalry. Any ideas? Have a guess. The original rivalry. It's called
the original rivalry.
I know.
I'm just
I
trying
don't know.
See, Adam and I are laughing because we're all A-League, so we know.
You know the shizzle, yeah. I'll give Matt 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go on.
I'm just trying to think of. I don't know. Is it teams that we've mentioned already? I'll say
one of them is.
One of them is.
I'd say the Sydney FC v Melbourne Victory.
No, you got one right. Robbie, what is it?
It is Adelaide United against Melbourne Victory. And it goes back to one of the first grand finals where Archie Thompson scored 5 in a grand final, 5 of 6 goals. And there's just been that was the start of the A-Leagues back then. So that's kind of where that was born from.
Original dialogue, like it. And we did the Big Blue, in which you said Melbourne Victory versus Sydney. And it just came about with a comment from a manager, was it?
Comment from one of the commentators. Oh, there you go. I like that.
That's cool.
That's great. The Big Blue. And what is it in significance to? Because of the Blue Mountains or the Big Blue, the big expanse?
The jersey.
They're both in blue. I mean,
it's one's sky blue, one's dark blue.
Hey, it's Australia, all right?
That's how little I watch the A-League currently until Saturday.
This is good. This is all part of the education, and this is ultimately what we want. We want as many people to watch the greatest league in the world, which I genuinely think it is, because anything can happen, and it usually does with the A-League. So the more that can get on board, the better.
You know that,
yes.
You know they don't overcomplicate things. It's like the Great South Road. I mean, it's in the south. It's big.
Well,
and it's a road.
Yeah.
We literally put O on the end of people's names, and that's a nickname.
Yeah.
Exactly, that's right.
Although we do live in a country who named their 2 major regions the North Island, and the South Island, so we don't really have much room to talk.
I think Stuart had something to do with the bottom one as well.
Yeah, some guy called Stuart. And so finally, the distance derby. Adam, what's the distance derby?
Well, originally it was Wellington Phoenix and Perth Glory, but I think
it's about to change.
Yeah, but like I said, apparently, hearing sort of statistics, apparently you guys are further away from Perth than Wellington is, so it might be rechristened for Auckland and Perth going forward.
It has to be. So Auckland, so Wellington is 5,257 kilometres from Perth, and Auckland is 5,346. So we've taken it out by 80
Who'd have
kilometres.
thought?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Way.
I must be the only one who doesn't know that.
Yeah. Well,
You
it's
got me that.
I don't know how the world works. You know, it's strange. You fly from one place, you get somewhere else. I don't know.
And that's how we arrived. And that's how we're here.
That's how we're here. Eh?
Yeah.
And that's how these are made.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, Perth's a long way to go for an away game, that's for sure for us. But you know, we might watch it on the telly. Eh? It'll be late as well, won't it? It'll be late because they're like two continents away, and they're in the same league. You know, they're two land masses away for us.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, that's all the derby. Any other derbies I've left out? Funny names.
Just trying to think. Yeah, no, I think it covers them.
It covers it.
We used to have an M1 derby between the Roar and Gold Coast United back in the day, but Gold Coast United folded in about 2015 or something. So Roar don't really have a derby, and it really shows because we really do need a big game that actually stands out. I know we've got a bit of it seems that. Against Adelaide, there always seems to be some incident that happens, a red card or something controversial. So maybe it is. But as far as official derbies, I think you've covered them all.
Lovely. And of course, we're going to have the Kiwi Classico, which we feel at this stage might be a little bit early to christen it. That hopefully we get something a bit more us, you know, and a bit more us. That's about it, guys. We've obviously lost Blair, and thanking Blair for coming. Thank you very much, everybody. Yeah, Adam, awesome to see you over here. Hope you have a wonderful experience in the city. There's all sorts of lovely things you can try out here. Yeah, have a great game. Might catch you. Where are you sitting? Where are you sitting in the state? Oh, you're up in the media box.
Yeah, I'm not there. Not sure where the media box is. I have to find out. Get in contact with the club. But yeah, I'll be up there. And but I might try. Yeah, might try and get out as well and have a look around because I think it's going to be. Yeah, I think it's going to be an amazing atmosphere. And I'm looking forward to it. And thanks, Dan and guys, for having me. I really appreciate it.
Lovely.
Yeah,
good to see you, Adam. And thanks, Robbie, for braving the Sydney traffic and
making it in the end.
Getting there in the end. You should have stayed at home with the dodgy internet connection, maybe. Work from home. Work from home next time, Robbie.
Next time.
We don't want you returning to the office. None of us want to do that.
No.
Yeah.
There's a personal agenda I'm on at the moment not to return to the office. This is quite aside from the podcast.
That's another podcast.
I don't want to come to the office. That's another podcast. That's right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. And if anyone's out there has watched this and enjoyed it, give us a like, give us a follow, and enjoy the game, enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy the build-up. You know, we finally have a football fixture to go to. Anyone that has football in their heart and football in their soul, they will walk a little bit taller and a little bit more excited going into this weekend, I think, in Auckland. So it's going to be really lovely. I'm really looking forward to getting down there and seeing what the club's putting on, and seeing how these players get on. More importantly, you know, get the players. Oh, we're just going to chuck on Blair. We're just signing off. Blair. Here he is.
Oh, buddy.
Say goodbye, Blair.
Blair. Did you get your audio back, Blair?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I got
Hey.
Nice. Well, thank you very much, Blair, for turning up. And did the spreadsheet get used enough tonight, or have we?
No,
to come?
we barely even touched on it, if we're being honest.
What was the gem? Give us the gem before we go.
Yeah, I'll just drop the spreadsheet in the chat.
Like any good spreadsheet, it will keep being updated, though, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, mate. All right, guys. Thank you very much. And go on, Blair. Check in.
Quick summary: 40 points for playoffs, essentially. So 10 wins, 10 draws. Basically, what we need this season.
10 wins, 10. So that's only 6 defeats. It's 26 games, right?
Yeah. Or 13 wins, 1 draw.
I like this. 10 wins, 10
and
wins,
then you can lose 12. You know, there's plenty of leeway.
Yeah, we can drop a couple of the draws and get a couple of extra wins. Cool. All right. Well, we'll keep on top of that as the season goes. See how we go, and we will. We'll be back next time. Thank you very much for watching. Nice drop of thought. Out. See you later.
Up the port.
Up
Yeah.
the port.
Paul.